Manufactured homes have many pros and cons. Today I'll be addressing just a few of these from a realtor's perspective that has lived in and sold a ton of manufactured homes over the years. Now you may be surprised at one of these pros, but a couple of these cons may surprise you too, so be sure to stick around for each of those. First, we need to define what a manufactured home is. Well, a manufactured home, also known as a mobile home or a trailer, is a prefabricated home built and assembled in its entirety that is then transported to a site where it's placed on a foundation of some sort. Now, for the purposes of our discussion today, we're addressing manufactured housing that's placed on land that is owned by the homeowner, so it's classified as real estate. Let's start with the most common pro of a manufactured home, the cost to purchase. Manufactured homes tend to be less expensive. Well, as of this recording, a brand new manufactured home will start around, somewhere around 55 grand for the home itself, although you can easily spend 150 grand or more without batting an eye, depending on the upgrades that you choose for that home. Now, this is often before setup fees, permits, wells, septic system, the land to put it on, etc., etc. Now, that's still a lot of dough, but it's often less, sometimes about half that of a conventionally built home, at least on a price per square foot basis. Plus, taxes on a manufactured home may be less than that of a conventionally built home. An existing manufactured home on land typically costs significantly less than that of a conventionally built home. Now, it's worth noting here that any manufactured home with lot rent is not considered real estate. Be careful here because some of these homes could cost significantly less, but that lot rent could be significantly more and could rise for as long as that home is on that lot in that community. I don't really understand it, but there seems to be this thought that living in a manufactured home is somehow less desirable than a conventionally built home. A few years back, I sold this absolutely gorgeous quadruple-wide manufactured home that was like a castle. The primary bedroom and bath suite were like half the size of my entire house, and it had beautiful ornate trim. It had these gorgeous, massive walk-in closets, granite countertops, and a kitchen that was as big and as nice as almost anything I've ever seen. So don't sleep on how nice these things can be. Plus, they've got more options for customization than you can imagine, all at a lower price, as I noted before. Because of this lower cost, manufactured homes offer a good bit of versatility. Manufactured homes can be placed on land and moved to be replaced by a conventionally built home. They aren't making any more land, and if you've got the right location, then sometimes it's better to keep the land and simply change the home. If you do decide that you want to move your manufactured home somewhere else, that's usually an option. You may have to spend $10,000 to $20,000 depending on the logistics, unless of course it's one of those quadruple wides. But I've had numerous manufactured homes moved over the years, and I was glad I did because the numbers still worked for my situation. It's important to note that if a mobile home is moved, a future buyer may have trouble obtaining financing, which is certainly a downside of this in my opinion. The time to build a conventionally built home may be somewhere between, usually 6 and 12 months, whereas you can literally walk into a storefront, pick out a manufactured home, and potentially have it delivered just a few weeks later. Now, of course, if you want one custom made, it could take you just as long as a conventionally built home. Speaking of time, take just a quick second to hit the like and subscribe buttons and click that little notification bell as a simple, small way of showing your support for the efforts of this channel. Back in the day, these manufactured homes weren't built with energy efficiency in mind, but today they are. They've got all sorts of features to help keep the utility bills down. From Energy Star shingles and appliances to ventilation systems to OSB sheathing, these are not your grandmother's manufactured homes. Just the other day, I heard someone say that they'd never buy a mobile home because of the hurricanes here in Florida, and I just chuckled about it. Yes, a tornado can destroy a manufactured home, but I've seen these same tornadoes tear up a concrete block home too. The safety requirements the HUD, or the Department of Housing and Urban Development, requires are really quite stringent. And whenever a home is sold with financing, they're often required to be brought up to the latest safety codes. It can be quite a headache and an expense when selling a home, but it's often comforting for a new homeowner to know that their home's safety is secure. You don't get this updating with a conventionally built home. There are a ton of these manufactured homes out there, but have you ever noticed how many of them were built back in the 50s, 60s, and the 70s? We've got hurricanes here in Florida just about every year, and these homes are still standing strong. Before we get to the cons of manufactured housing, what are some other pros of manufactured housing? This list is not a comprehensive list, but I'd really like to hear your thoughts, so put those in the comment section below. If you've got real estate needs of any sort here in Central Florida, put them there too. or simply pick up the phone and give us a call. Next, let's address some of the cons of manufactured housing. The lingering stigma of manufactured housing is still a thing. Some people still look down their noses at the idea of living in a manufactured home. I believe local governments can do that too. Many counties, at least here in Central Florida where I sell real estate, don't allow for manufactured housing to be placed on most of the land, suggesting somehow that it degrades the overall housing market in the local area. Now, perhaps this is why we often see manufactured housing in more rural areas. Of course, there are some that treat their homes like trash, but the way I see it, that happens with conventionally built homes too. Yes, contrary to popular belief, you can get financing for manufactured homes, and sometimes you can get the land that it sits on financed too. However, financing for manufactured homes tends to be more expensive. Interest rates fluctuate significantly from time to time and lender to lender, but they can be significantly higher than financing with a conventionally built home. And that doesn't even consider the upfront costs or collateral that might be required for mobile home financing. Now, I may get flamed for this one, but I've heard it said many times that manufactured homes do not maintain their value. But I can tell you with 100% certainty after selling probably 100 manufactured homes over the years that manufactured homes as real estate do appreciate. However, the con here is that they often don't appreciate at the rate, and that's the important part, the rate that conventionally built homes appreciate, but they are still appreciating as real estate. How does this correlation correlate with the initial investment? Is the initial investment worth spending to obtain this appreciation? These are tough questions that I believe are dependent on the homeowner's situation and are questions that I believe are worth considering. Years ago, manufactured housing relied heavily on polybutylene plumbing, which at the time was the latest and greatest innovation. However, this plumbing eventually showed signs of these pinhole leaks, and today many insurance companies are having a fit about it, raising rates and declining coverage for many with polybutylene plumbing. When I'm meeting with a seller of a manufactured home today, addressing the plumbing is one of the very first things that I do. Now that we've looked at the pros and the cons, put your comments in the comment section below about the cons or others that you may be aware of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.